So now let's model a house inside of Cinema 4D. So over here, I got a blank canvas. So I'm going to go over here and bring out a cube right here, which is going to be the body of the house. So I'm going to go over here onto the side just like this, and then just pull this up. So I'm going to pull this up to be at the ground level just like this, and over here what I'm going to do is convert this into a polygonal model now. So I'm going to press C right here. So once I press C, you can see that now it is editable. I'm going to go over here onto the object mode, and I'm just going to expand this out just like this. Once I expand this, you can see that I got the base for the model right here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select the faces right here. I'm just going to delete the top face, and I'm going to delete the bottom face right here because this is all I need for my house. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a door area right over here, and on the left side there's going to be a window on both the side over here as well, and maybe a window at the back as well, maybe two windows at the back. So I'm just going to create as loops accordingly. So I'm going to go to the as tool right here so I can work with the as easily, and now I'm going to add in an as loop by pressing KL, that is knife and loop tool, and I'm just going to cut these things out right here. So I want a door right over here. So I want this to be like a cartoon house. So I'm just going to go over here, and this is my door point. And you can see that I can create an as loop. So I want to define where my windows will be as well. So this is where my door is going to be right around over here. So this is going to be the door area. And then I want a window area as well, just beneath the door right over here, and then one over here as well. So this is the window area, as you can see. So this is where I want the windows to be located. So I'm going to go over here and then just click it. So I'm going to click over here and over here. So this is one window area, and this is the door area, as you can see. I can also just go over here and then delete out the faces. So I'm just going to delete. This is going to be the window area, as you can see. So there's a hole right there. And these two are going to be the door area right over here. So window and door. So let's add in detail over here as well. So I'm going to go over here onto the loop S tool, and I'm going to press KL. And over here, I'm just going to click, and this is going to be a window area as well, just like this. So window area. One over here as well. So I'm just going to go over here and then add in one edge over here and one edge over here as well. And similarly, I'm going to add in two windows at the back. So let's say one over here at the back and one over here. So pretty much windows all over just like that. So I'm going to go over here onto my face selection tool. I'm just going to click and delete these out. So I'm going to delete this one as well and this one as well. So I'm going to delete this one as well. So you see that the basic house model is ready just like that. So you got the base over here. So I want this to be covered up by a roof. So I want this to be a opposite V shape like house. So what I can do is I can add in an S loop over here as well. So in order to do that, first of all, let us make the roof. And to make the roof, I'm going to drag a plane. So I'm going to go over here and get a plane right over here and decrease the segments of that plane. So I'm going to have, let's say, 1 by 1 and 1 by 2, that is because I want this part to be bent up just like this. So I'm just going to go over here and then I'm going to decrease the size of this. To do that, I'm going to press C so that it actually just goes up. So I'm going to go over here onto the loop right there. I'm going to go over here and select the object, resize this out just like that. I'm going to just bring this down over here just like that. I'm just going to bring this down over here. Right on the top, I want to align it out as well. So I'm going to select the S and I'm going to pull this up. So I'm going to go over here and pull the S up just like this. So the S is selected, and if I pull this up, you can see that this becomes more like a roof just like that. So now I can go to the face and extrude this out. So I want to do a capped extrude. So I'm going to go over here on to the extrude. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to right click and I'm going to extrude this out. So extrude this just like that, and over here on the option, I'm going to click on create caps and I'm going to apply that, and you can see that this is how it works out. So I can also go over here and pull it out on the opposite direction, as you can see, and I can work around with the caps. So I can just barely go over here. It doesn't matter if it is overlapping, just like that. So now once I do that, what I can do is I can go over here onto the edges, just like this one and this one on the sides, and I want to just rearrange that out. So I'm just going to rearrange that out and above. So I'm just going to go out above just like this, and you can see how this works out just like that. So once I do that, what I can do is I can work around with the points right here to add in more details. And so I want to select the cube right here, and I'm going to go over here onto the as selection again, and then I'm going to press KL to bring out the loop tool. So I'm going to click one over here and another one over here, just like this. So I'm going to go over here, and then I'm going to select my selection tool. I'm just going to bring this up just like that. So I'm just going to bring this up over here and bring these 2 points up as well. So I'm just going to bring both of these right here. So I'm going to bring this one up as well, and I'm going to select this point. So let me just select this. This is not being selected, as you can see, but anyways, now it's selected. Sometimes that happens, and you can see that the building is complete. So I'm going to go over here onto the other side as well, and I'm going to select this point and drag it up as well. So we aligned it well, drag it this one up as well, and drag this one up as well. And you can see that the basic house model is completed. And now what we need to do is add in some details onto the house model. So I'm going to go over here onto the S tool, and then I'm going to add in as loop. So I'm going to press KL, and then over here on the bottom first, because I want detail over there, I'm just going to add in 2 as loops over here. And the bottom part, what I want to do is bring it out a bit. So I'm going to go and select the face right here. I'm going to go to the face tool and then select the faces. So I'm going to go over here onto the loop selection tool, which is here just like this, as you can see. And if I were to go down over here, you can see that the loop is actually selected once I actually go on to the bottom. And now I can just select the scale tool right here and just scale this out. So just scale this out right here, and you can see that the detail actually pops up just like this. And once everything is done, I may want to select everything out over here. So I'm just going to go over here and select the lasso tool, select the whole building area, and I'm going to extrude this in. So now I'm going to go over here onto the regular selection tool, and I'm going to extrude this in. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to press extrude. And once I do that, I'm going to create caps, press apply, and you can see that there's a bulge on the building layer just like that. So instead of the bulge layer, I'm just going to go to the sides right here. So I'm just going to go and arrange out the sides inside. So you can see that the bulge is inside. Doesn't look really good. So I'm just going to give the bulge a bit outside. So it actually looks like this, and it has a solid foundation. So I'm going to go over here, and then I'm going to add in more details right here. So you can see that there's a bit of a modeling error right here, but I'm just going to go over here onto the side view, and let me just arrange that out. So over here you can see that this is the front view. So I'm just going to display out a ground shading right here as a reference. So I'm just going to select this out. So maybe I don't want to select the ground, so I'm just going to go over here onto the back view right here, and you can see that this is here. It's not straightforward. That is because we extruded this out in a different way. So I'm just going to go over here onto the selection tool. So I'm going to select the points right here, and I'm going to expand this out. So I'm just going to expand the selection right here. Let me just select the lasso selection tool right here, and then select this area just like that. And once I do that, you can see that I can move these around just like that as well. So I'm just going to go over here onto this side. Let me just go over here and select these tools. So I'm just going to go over here, select these individual dots right there, just like that. The dots in the front is what I want. So I'm just going to select the edges, so that will do the trick. So I'm just going to go over here onto the light selection tool. I'm going to select both of these edges and just drag this out. Maybe I just want to drag this one out right here. So I'm just going to go over here, select this as, and drag this over here, just like this. And you can see that it is more straightforward now, just like that. And I'm just going to drag this one a bit inside, and this one too. So I'm just going to go over here onto the side, and then I just want to go over here maybe I'm going to go over here onto the selection tool again. So sometimes that happens, and that is not being selected for some reason. So I'm just going to select another part right here, and then just select the S right over there. Also on the cube right here, just going to go over here, and you can see that it is selected. So I'm just going to go over here and arrange that out as well. And you can see that it is much more balanced. And if you were to see from the front view, you can see that this is more straightforward now, just like this. So let me just go over here onto the side, and now I want to give it more level of detail. So I'm going to go over here on the cube. So I want to make something like a door right here. So I'm going to go over here and create a new cube right here. So just click on the cube, and there you go. So I'm just going to move it along onto the side, and on the cube I'm going to convert this into polygon as well, and I'm going to resize this. So over here, let me just select the cube right there, and I'm going to select the object. I'm just going to resize it along the door path right over here. So I'm just going to move this out along right over here, and move it along the side, and then move it along the top, just like this. And I'm just going to resize this out as well, just like this. And I'm just going to move it down below. So I'm going to use the front as the reference to this, and over here onto the side, just like that. Just going to resize it. So you can see that there's the reference point right there. Just going to resize this out. Doesn't matter if it is overlapping a bit, because that is going to be covered up, not seen in the final product. So I'm just going to go over here and expand this out, and expand this out as well. And there you go, you got the door. And I wouldn't mind that it is actually going below, because I'm going to fill everything up with the ground anyways. So I'm just going to go over here onto the window as well, and do the same. So let me choose an easier method, and in this case I'm just going to go over here onto the side, and then I'm going to use a polygonal creation tool. So I'm just going to go over here, and I'm going to go for the polygonal pen tool, let's say for example, and I'm going to go over here, and maybe polygonal pen tool isn't the best for this one, because like I need to create a perfect square. Anyways, I'm going to go over here and create a plane for this. Maybe no, let's just stick to the cube right here. So easier part right there. So let me just go over here and then move it along in the side, and I'm going to resize these out. So I'm just going to resize these out right here onto the side. Just resize it and bring it out right over here, and then just resize it out just like this. So just resize it onto the side and resize it out. So I'm going to press C, and I'm going to select the cube right here. So I'm going to select the cube. I'm just going to go to the object, and I'm going to resize the object. So these are going to be my windows right there. So I'm just going to go over here, and this is going to be my window. I can just open it out as well if I want to in later session. So over here you can see that I got the window right here, and then the door. So I'm just going to drag it backwards as well. So I'm just going to drag this backwards as well, as you can see. So that's the window as well, and I'm going to duplicate this by holding Alt, and there you go, there's another window again. So I'm going to drag this out again over here, and then there's another window. I'm just going to rotate this around. So I'm just going to rotate this around into -90 degrees, and there you go, there's another window for you. So I'm just going to go over here, there's the window right over here as well, and I'm going to drag this out, control drag it all the way to the back, and there's another window there as well, just like this. And I'm going to move it a bit just like that. So you can see that there's the basic model. So if I were to render this out, you can see that everything is flat, but everything looks wonderful just like this. And I'm just going to save this out just like that. So I'm going to just save this out onto my desktop in my house project. So what I'm going to do is, now I'm going to add in textures onto our model. So I'm just going to double click. I'm going to create a texture, and I'm going to add in texture onto our main house right here. So I'm going to rename the material to wall. So there you go. I'm going to double click and drag another material right over here onto the windows, and this is going to be doors and windows. I'm going to use the same textures for this. So I'm just going to drag it on over here from the side, and on the other side as well. And I'm going to just say that this is door, window. All right. with door and windows. There you go, that's the material name right there. And another one for the roof, so drag it up, and this is going to be for the roof, just like this. So let's go over here onto the wall, and I'm going to add in texture. So I'm just going to go over here onto the wall, and here you can see that there's the texture. I'm just going to go over here, and then I'm going to load an image. So I'm going to go over here and to load an image, and on the texture there is wall texture. I'm just going to open it, press OK, and there you go, there's the wall texture, as you can see. But the wall texture is too big for the taste, so I'm just going to go over here and then click on the wall right here. So you can see that this is the sampling and everything out. So I'm just going to go over here on to the texture settings for this one. So I'm going to go from startup right here. This is the current selection right there. I'm just going to change the layout into UV edit so that I can work around with everything else. So you can see that this is the details right here. So I'm going to go over here onto the material selection. So on the material, I'm going to go off to the wall right here. So over here, I'm just going to increase the level of the UV. In order to do that, so I'm going to select my object right here. So I'll just go over here onto the object, and over here I'm just going to select the cube right there. So on the cube, I'm going to go over here onto the materials, and I'm going to just, so over here, I'm going to go over here and then do an automatic UV. So I'm just going to select the object right here. So I'm going to go over here onto the full object selection itself because it's easier for me to work on that way. So I'm going to go over here onto the object. I'm going to select the wall and then do I need to go to the face selection over here. So on the face selection, you can see that once I do that on the projection part, these actually comes up. So I can go over here and select the box UV right over here. But before I do that, I want to select everything else. So I'm just going to select everything, not the live selection, but I'm going to go to the rectangular selection, select everything out. And over here, I'm going to do a cubic. So this, you can see that is a cube-like selection right here, or you can do a box. So box is from all four sides. And that is good, as you can see that there's the texture. And from the UV commands, I may want to choose the max UV so that you can see that there's the level of detail that you actually have. You can also fit the UV to canvas or just go over here. So I just go over here onto max UV. And then I'm just going to go out. So I'm going to add in the other textures over here as well. So I want to add in texture for the roof, and I want to add in texture for these doors as well. So I'm just going to go back onto the regular view for this one. So over here, I'm just going to go to not animate, but the regular standard view right here. So let's just go to the regular standard view. So I'm going to go over here onto the other cube right here. So this is going to be the roof. So I'm going to go over here onto the object, and then I'm going to add in texture to this one as well. So on the texture, I'm just going to load an image, and I'm going to use the roof image right here and press OK. And you can see that the roof image is there. So now I'm going to increase the level of detail onto the roof. So I'm going to go over here, and then here on the material option, you'll be able to find the offset and the length. So right now it's tiles 1. So if I were to increase it, you can see that I can increase the number of tiles over here, and that is quite seamless, as you can see right there. I can also increase it vertically, and you can see that this is how you can add in details quite easily, just like that. I can also increase the level of detail on my cube right here, and I can just click on the material and I can increase the level of tile, as you can see. But as we did a UV edit, you can see that the tile increase actually happens a bit differently on this one, just like that. But you can see that there's, you notice that there's a bit of an error right here. That is because the UV unwrap didn't work out quite well. So I'm just going to go over here on to the UV edit tool to actually arrange that out. So I'm going to go to the UV edit. I'm just going to select the faces right here, all the faces. I'm just going to select this out from the polygonal lasso tool. So just like that, I can actually select it out. And then on the projection tool, I'm just going to choose cube right here. So you can see that everything is even now. So I'm just going to go back over here onto the standard view right here, and then in the UV selection right here, I'm just going to increase the level of tile. So let's say something like 10 by 10 right there. So you can see that 10 by 10 gives a level of detail right over there. So really level of detail as you want. So let us work around with the texture of this as well. So I'm just going to go over here on to the texture of the door and wall right here. So on the door and wall, I'm going to add in another texture. So I'm going to add in the door wall texture and press yes. And this is how it looks like, as you can see right there. So let me increase the level of texture for this one as well. So I'm going to go over here on to the door wall texture, and you can work around with individual pieces, as you can see right there. So now I'm going to go over into the first cube, and I'm going to increase the level of texture right here, as you can see. So I'm going to say 2 by 2 maybe, just like this, or increase the level of texture from this side. And there you go, you got the door texture right over there, just like this. So let's say I want to have a universal type of setting right here. So I'm going to have 3 by 3 right here, and you can see 3 by maybe 5. Okay, I want to push it in a bit, as you can see. So 3 by 5 right over here. For this one as well, I'm going to add in 3 by 5, so same level of texture details right over here, making it seem, so I still seems to have the polygonal selection tool. So I'm just going to go back onto live selection tool right here. So you can see that 3 by 5. So I'm going to go over here as well. So I'm going to have 3 by 5. It would have been easier to actually just make one and then copy, but anyways, I'm just going to change everything right now. So 3 by 5 right here, and then 3 by 5 right here as well. So now what I want to do is, let's say I want to open up the doors right here. So now you got the roof right here. So I want to get the roof out of the way for a while. So I'm going to keep it on a new layer. So I'm going to go on to the layers. I'm going to create a new layer out of that object right here. So new layer from object selection, and then just disable that for a while. So I'm just going to make sure that some of my doors and windows are open. So I'm going to go over to the main cube right here, and then go to the object selection. But you can see that everything is actually in the center. So if I were to actually rotate this around, you can see that it rotates from that axis, but I don't want to do that. So I just want to change the object axis right here. So I want to go for my axis tool. So let me just go over here onto the object axis. Let's see where it is, the object axis. And it is located object axis. So let's see where it is. Where's the option? Yeah, there's the enable axis, as you can see. So if I were to go over here and then click on enable axis, what it does is it does not move the object, but it let me allow to move the axis point, as you can see right here. So I'm going to move the axis point of this object right here. So this is where the door is going to open from, maybe. So I'm going to go over here onto the second cube right here. I want to change its object axis as well. So you can see that the object axis is still enabled, and I want to move that out onto this side as well. So this is the point where I want to open out the window from. So let's go over here onto this cube as well. So let's move it around over here. And then let's say I want to move this object axis point right around here. For this one, let's move around right here onto the side. And for this one, let's move around here right there. And for this one, let's move around here. So I can open them out just like that individually. So this is going to be the object axis point for each and everything right here. So you can see that there's the cube. I don't need to work around for that one, but over here. And for this one, over here, just like that. So if I were to rotate this around, so if I were to rotate this now, I need to turn off the enable axis right here first. And if I do that, you can see that I can open out the window just like that. Let's do the same with the door right here. So open out the door a bit. Maybe I want to open this out a bit as well, just like that. So I can keep it closed if I want to, but let's just not make it too perfect, and let me just open these doors out just like that. So inside or outside. So let me just open these doors out and windows out over there. So let me just open out the window, maybe just a bit and just a bit, just like that. So you can see that this is how the overall house looks like now. So if I were to enable the view, you can see that this is how it looks like now. So if I were to press Ctrl R, you can see that this is how it renders out. So now what I want to do is, let me just select this out, bring this a bit, towards the front because it looks looking too unnatural. So now I want to add in some edge loop to have in a bit of a smoothness. So I want to have in edge loops on all of the objects right here so that it gives a smooth look. Right now it is very perfect and very sharp. That's not how real objects actually look like. So I'm going to go to the edge mode right here. I'm going to press KL, and you can see that this is how I can add in edge loops over here. So I'm going to add in edge loops over here onto the sides, just like this, onto the corners right over here and right over here. So there you go. Object axis over here on the corner and over here on the corner and over here as well, over here and over here, just like that. I'm going to add an object axis right over here as well, right on the top and on the bottom, so just like that. And there you go, on over here as well. So I'm just going to go over here, add an axis over here and another one over there as well. So you can see that that's how you add in a bit of a detail right over there. So once you do that, I'm going to go over here on to the other objects like the roof and start adding details over there as well. So I'm going to go over to the plane, that's the roof, so one over here and one over here as well. So I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to add in one over here, and then one over here, just like this. I'm going to add in one over here and here as well, because that is how you work around with everything. So now I'm going to go to the individual cubes right here and then work around with those as well. So let me just go over here on this cube right here. So this is the plane, there's the cubes. You can I don't know where the cube is, so let me just go over here onto the object mode. Let's see where this cube is located. It is located right over here. This is the main door. That is why you need to rename this. In my case, I didn't. So anyways, so I'm going to go over here. I'm going to press KL, and there you go. So I'm going to add an edge loop over here as well, and I'm going to add an edge loop over here and over here as well, and also again onto the side. So I'm going to add in edge loops onto the side as well, over here and here. There you go. So you at the bottom, you can see that this is how you add in edge loops, just like that. All right, there you go. So add in edge loops, and there you go. So I'm going to smooth everything out later on. So I'm going to add in an edge loop over here, edge loop over here, one over here, and one over here, and one over here, and one over here. So just go over here, nearby, and there you go. So another one over here as well. So I'm going to add an edge loop to the other object as well. So that's the second cube. That's the third one. So I'm going to add in an edge loop over here, over here, over here, over here, over here, and over here. There you go. So another object as well. So another object right over there. It's going to go over here onto the object. So let's see where that object is. So I'm going to go to the object mode again, see where that object is. So from the world transformation, it's right over here. There you go. So I'm just going to go over here, and then for the fourth cube, I'm just going to press KL for the edge loop tool, and then click everything out over here as well. So I'm going to click over here, one over here and over here, and from the side as well, one over here and one over here. So now the fifth one. And the fifth one is again where did the object go. So now there you go. So right over here, there you go. So this is the fifth object. Click over here, over here. This one is a closed window. There you go. And one inside. So one outside and one inside. Right there you go. So the sixth object now. So that's the final object we'll be working with. So right over here, this is the last object that we'll be working with. So one, there you go. So it's actually better to duplicate everything beforehand if you want to repeat these things. But anyways, I didn't. So there you go. So I do it the hard way. So let me just go over here onto the side, and from there you go. Let me just click over here and go at the bottom. So let me just zoom in so that I can select this more precisely. There you go. So everything is done now. So it's time to add in subdivision surfaces on all of those. So I'm going to go over here onto the subdivision surface. As you can see, now I'm going to add in this cube right here. And you can see that it is much more smoother, but this is not what I had in mind. You can see that every window is actually becoming round. That's where I forgot to add in a subdivision surface. So I'm just going to go over here onto the S tool right here. I'm going to press KL, and there you go. You see those divisions right there. So I need to bring out the sharpness back over here, one over here, and you can see that there's the sharpness right over here, and one over here as well, and there you go, there's the sharpness. So let me go over here as well, there's the sharpness, and one over here as well, there's the sharpness, one sharpness over here, and one sharpness over here, and there you go, that's the window sharpness. You can see that it also is affecting this side, and which is totally okay. So one sharpness over here, one sharpness over here, one over here, maybe one over here, just like that, and there you go. So you start getting the details back, just like that, and add in detail right over here. So let me add in a detail over here as well, one over here, and one over here, just like this. Even if you can't see the whole, it doesn't matter, you need to still work around with the details. So one over here, one over here, one over here, and one over here. So that makes it good right there. So need to work around with this one as well. You can see that there's the round edges which actually is popping up. So I'm going to add in one detail on all of the levels right over here. So it actually looks square, just like that. One over here, one over here, and one over here, and one over here, just like this. And you can see that that is fixed out on that side, and this is still round. So I'm just going to go and add one over here, one at the top, just like this, one over here onto the side, one over here onto this side, one over here, one over here on this side, and one over here on this side right here, and there you go. So once you do that, I'm going to just click on these things right here as well to get the details out. So you can see that I can add in the details right over here as well, and over here. And there you go, you got everything well now. So if I were to actually render this, so one more, as you can see, that there are some details that you may need to work with as well. So this is where I want sharpness as well, right around in the center, because I want it really high above, just like that as well. So I'm going to go over here, and you can see that there's the bit of the detail right over there as well. I do not want these areas to be smooth, so you can see that I'm going to add in one detail over here and another one over here, just like that. There you go. So I'm going to go over here onto the plane object now and then do the same. I'm going to add in a subdivision surface onto this, and you cannot simply add in a subdivision surface on both of the object all at once. You need to add in different one for each of them. So I'm going to go over here onto the subdivision surface, and then I'm going to add in a plane over here, as you can see, and that is smoother. I'm just going to bring this down a bit. So I'm going to go over here onto the subdivision surface, and I'm going to bring this down a bit, just like that, and there you go. So you get that. So there's the part we missed. So I'm going to go over here onto the plane, and I'm going to go over here onto the S loop. So I'm going to press KL and then work around with the plane. So let me just disable the subdivision surface right here, add in details right over here and over here, and then the subdivision surface will work now, as you can see right there. So now I'm going to add in subdivision to each one of these as well. So I'm going to add in subdivision surfaces. I'm just going to copy and paste the subdivision surfaces right here according to the number I need. So cube 1 on subdivision surface 2, cube 3 right there, cube 4, cube 5, and cube 6. So I need one more, so I'm just going to copy and paste this. So cube 6 and cube 7, and there you go, all subdivision surface added in, just like this. There you go. So let's see how this model actually looks like. But anyways, I need to work around with the first cube. So I'm just going to go over here and rotate this around a bit more, so it seems like it's more open. So I'm going to go over here and open this out a bit more from this side, There you go. So once everything is done, let me just test out the render. I'm going to press Ctrl R, and this is how it looks like. So this is how it looks like. So now what I want to do is I'm going to add in a floor right here. So I'm going to add in a floor, and let's say I want to add in a physical sky right there. So this gives how daytime looks. I'm going to press Ctrl R, and this is how our model actually looks like. You can see that there's the detail right over here. So let me just render this out again. So I can actually rotate the entire house over here onto the other side as well, because like I'm going to grab a null object and I'm going to make everything the child of the null right here, because the sun is in a different direction. So I can just rotate this around right over here, 180 degrees right over there, and there you go. So I can create a duplicate of this as well. So over here, let me just render this out, and this is how it looks like, as you can see. So there's our little house, and there you go, everything is there. So there's this bit of shadows which is actually casting on, and there you go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a series of this house. So I can just duplicate this null, and you can see that you can contract this null as well, and then just create multiple copies of this null, as you can see right there. So just select everything out, and over here just select everything out, keep it around at this side, and maybe one at the back. Maybe I do not want to do too much of this, and there you go, there's our entire neighborhood in a similar fashion, just like this. And there you go, there's our entire neighborhood. So let me just render these out and see how that looks like. So I'm just going to render everything out, and then that is how it looks like. Let me just do a final render on over here as well. So I'm just going to click over here, and then this is how it renders. So this is a whole neighborhood of the house right there, as you can see. So let me just select a different view, because that is not very interesting. So let me just select this view right here, over here from the top, and there you go. Let's render this out. So let me just render this out, and that is how everything looks like. And that's how you model a house, or else an entire neighborhood inside of Cinema 4D. So hope you guys learned something as always, and as always, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.